ブルワーズのパット・マーフィー監督が日本時間16日、ドジャースタジアムでリーグ優勝決定シリーズの会見を行いました。マーフィー監督はドジャースの大谷翔平について、彼は本当に危険な打者だ。昨日の試合ではライナーをキャッチされた打球が1本あったし、ヒットも打っている。私たちは彼をこれまでに100回も歩かせているから、不審だとは全く思っていない。私は数字なんか見ないと語り、改めて強い警戒心を示しました。この日、ドジャースの大谷翔平、タイラー・グラスノー、デーブ・ロバーツ監督、そしてブルワーズのホセ・キンタナも前日会見を行い、それぞれが試合への意気込みや戦略を語りました。これらの興味深い内容を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。また、FOX スポーツではデビッド・オルティス、デレク・ジーター、アレックス・ロドリゲスらがドジャースの2連勝を振り返り、山本由伸をはじめとする先発陣の見事なピッチングを称賛。チームの強さや完成度について分析しました。これらの模様を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。
Last night, Game 2 of the NLCS, it was all Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Unbelievable. He let up a leadoff home run, and then after that, he threw the first complete game of his career in the first in the playoffs since 2017, and it's the first for a Dodger in a postseason since 04. It just an incredible run of success now for LA starters. Dodgers are now 2 wins away from getting back to the World Series, trying to defend their title. It's amazing. This postseason, they're 7-1. Their starting rotation has been insane. A 1.54 ERA in 8 games. Only the 83 Orioles have a lower ERA in the postseason, and the only reason that made it is because our producer, Jonathan Kaplan, grew up in Baltimore. That's why that's on there. So, watching these first 2 games, Derek, it looked, yes, the starting pitching has been incredible, Snell and Yamamoto, but it almost looked like the Dodgers took a little of the Brewers' soul these first 2 games in Milwaukee. What's your take?
Well, the Dodgers are the most talented team, and they are playing as the best team. You know, when you throw Snell, you follow it up with Yamamoto. In game 1, everyone said, well, look, the Dodgers bullpen struggles a little bit. Trinan has been struggling. He came in, does the job. These guys are battle tested. They know how to win games. They know how to prepare. And the talent is, it's unbelievable.
I agree, Derek. And you know who else is growing right in front of our eyes over the last 8 or 9 years? It's Dave Roberts. You got to give Dave Roberts a lot of credit, Kevin, because when you look at that game yesterday and you stick with Snell and Yamamoto, right? It's really an indictment of what we've seen the last decade in baseball, which is pulling your pitchers early. As a matter of fact, the irony is it was Snell a few years ago in the World Series that got pulled when he pitched for Tampa against the Dodgers, and then they went on to lose that game. So credit to those pitchers, credit to Dave Roberts. Great leadership, watching your eyes and trusting what you see.
One thing that I always want to focus on every time I'm going to face a team is look at their ERA. This guy, 1.54 ERA during the playoff. 4.30 during the regular season. Milwaukee 6-0 against the Dodgers. You guys are not facing the same team. You guys are facing a team that when it comes down to the lights to get brighter, to the ball to get smaller, they shows up. That's why they are the defending world champions. So Milwaukee, you guys are in a tough situation right now, let me tell you.
You're really giving a lot of Brewers fans a lot of hope here. You guys are.
You guys came up short last 2 games, but Ohtani is still kind of quiet. Relatively quiet. You guys are handling him well. So, what do you think of the matchup and what you guys are doing well?
I kind of feel the same way about Ohtani as Yelich, and I don't know the number comparison. I don't look at that stuff, but he's dangerous, and we pitch him as tough and as careful as you can pitch him, and we bring a matchup in every time we can. So, for a 4-game stretch or a 5-game stretch, whatever he struggled for, that's not enough to say, oh, this guy's in a bad place. It's because those guys are so good that they can flip it on and boom, and things can result-wise change like that. You know, because Ohtani, I know, had 1 line drive caught yesterday and got another hit. I don't know. We walk him 100 times, so it's like I don't look at him as struggling at all. I just don't. I don't look at those type of numbers. I know if Sanchez is pitching left on left and he's running the 2-seamer in, throwing that slider away, that's tough for everybody. And he's going to be especially careful if you don't care if you walk him. You're going to be especially careful of Ohtani. So I think Yelich is in a similar boat, not obviously the same hitter, but he's in a similar boat. They're pitching him saying, okay, I'll face whoever next. You know what I mean? And makes it tough. And he wants to produce because he wants to help the team. So it's that cycle that happens. And then you don't get the results, and then you guys start writing about it like there's something wrong with them and there's some simple solution. You get results by staying on your process, and if you stay on your process, you'll get the results.
Actually, this question is for Austin.
Go, Austin.
Everybody hears your dad talking all the time. So, based on
tired.
your inside knowledge of the Brewers, what do they have to do to get out of this 2-0 deficit they're facing?
Just stick with it and keep battling through it. I think they can do it, and yeah, I believe they can do it.
What makes you believe?
Well, the guys respond back really good. Like, start of the season 0-4. Those games were not good, but then they responded with the best record in baseball. So I believe they can do it.
Thanks for asking that. Nice.
Murph, I can't imagine with you at the helm that this team would ever be tight at all. But because you have some guys that are young and inexperienced in situations like this, do you have to pull certain guys aside and just say, play your game, be yourself, do what you do all year, or is it a pretty loose group?
I mean, these guys are in Major League Baseball. Think about what it takes to become a Major League player. To say they're a 1%er, that's not fair, right? They're better than a 1%er. And most times they have the capacity. But like all human beings, we lose confidence or we start to doubt. But they have enough people around them. Maybe I'll say that to a few guys, in my own way. But keeping it light, at the same time, knowing exactly where the target is. You know what I mean? Exactly where the target is. Knowing exactly what your process is and how you have to carry that out. Even if you've got a guy like Yamamoto who's split, looks like his heater and then goes down, and his heater looks like, it might be a heater, and then it goes up. I mean, it's a tough detail. And I don't think we give that enough credit, how great those two guys pitched. But, and it's put us in a hole that people say it's unlikely to come out of. But no, this was an unlikely team to be in first place and to lead the major leagues in wins. So I trust that. There's a lot of reason to doubt. There's a lot of daunting scenarios out there. But it's time. It's not time to think, complain, or explain. It's time to go.
Shohei, I know that I'm right here. I know that you've been seeing a lot of lefties. It's, of course, guys trying to be competitive, get you out. When you think about your at-bats, looking to get back on track, you had the RBI base hit yesterday. How are you feeling offensively, and kind of just if you have tried to make any adjustments, or if you're looking to make some adjustments, can you just kind of talk through that, please?
ラインナップの流れ的に僕のところで、ね、レフティが来るっていうのはそういうふうに打線を組んでると思うので、それはもう分かっていることですし、そこでね一本しっかり打てるかどうかが特にランナーのいる場面でが試合を左右する場面もあるとは思うので、打てるのかもそうですし、そのムーキー以降にムーキーテオにこうしっかりといい形でまずはつなげるっていうのが一番基本的な役割かなとは思うので、しっかりとした打席をまずは送れるように、打席のクオリティを高めていくっていうのがまず一番最初にやるべきことかなとは思ってます。
Shohei, is it a matter of changing mindset of being aggressive on the first pitch of at-bats? And where do you go as far as your hitting foundations to get back on track whenever you feel like you're a little off?
基本的にはストライクをしっかり振ってボールを見逃す、これはずっとシーズン中も言ってますし、今更始まったことではないんですけども、それをシーズン中ポストシーズン関わらずしっかりとまずはさっき言いましたけど打席のクオリティをまずしっかりと高めていくっていうのがそういうところにつながってくると思うので、それが結果的にヒットになったりフォアボールをしっかり選べるっていうところにつながってくるかなとは思ってます。
Let's go to Jack down here in the second row.
Shohei, this year on the days you've pitched and then the days immediately after you've pitched, the offensive numbers haven't been as good. The strikeouts have gone up. Has pitching made it harder on those days to have the kind of offensive success that you want?
なんですけど、去年が逆に言えばあまりそのサンプル的に少ない、DH だけで臨んでいるシーズンではあるので、 それと比較は単純にはできないですけど、もちろん、ね、やらないよりやってる方が体力的にもちろんきついっていうのはそれはシーズン中も同じことではあるので、それが直接的に関係しているかどうかっていうのは分からないですし、体感的にはそうではないなとは思ってますけど、基本的には打撃に関してはやっぱり自分のこう思っている構え方であったりとか、技術的な部分っていうのがしっかりしてないとなかなかこう結果に結びつくっていうのは難しい作業ではあるので、ピッチングはもちろん自分がやれることをしっかりやればいい結果が生まれてくるっていう可能性が高いところではあるので、あんまり関係はないのかなとは思ってます。
Bigger picture question: Are you happy that you picked the Dodgers, and what are the reasons?
まだ2年目ですけどね、こうやって2回目のポストシーズンも出れてここまで勝ち上がってこれてるので、まずそれに感謝したいですし、シーズン中もねいろんな選手と去年ともまた違うメンバーで臨んでいるシーズンですけど、本当にチーム一丸となってここまで来ているので、この先もね1試合でも長くできるように頑張りたいなと思ってます。
Yeah, Shohei, to go back to the two-way thing, Dave had kind of said the other day that he's noticed on days where you're pitching, your at-bats have gotten a little bit shorter, seems like you're trying to end the bat a little bit quicker. Has it been more difficult to balance the two-way stuff with the postseason environment and sort of everything that comes with that?
さっき言った通りですね。はい、同じ質問なので。
Same question, so no, my answer is still the same.
Shohei, you've said, of course, that being a two-way player is normal for you. It's kind of your default state. But do you think that getting back to it just after, being a kind of a full-time DH last year has maybe led to some of the differences, like adjusting back to doing both?
どうなんですかね。あまり関係は、さっきも言ったんですけどないのかなとは体感では思っているので、はい、シーズンの後半もねスケジュール通りに来て打席もそれなりの感覚では遅れてはいたので、はい、さっきの質問と同じ答えにはなるんですけど、あまり関係はないのかなとは感じて。
Shohei, in his rookie season, Roki has been in these high leverage situations. How have you seen him emotionally and mentally grow to be able to meet the moment?
そうですね。1年目で難しいところでまたリハビリから帰ってきて中継ぎに配置転換されて難しいシチュエーションだとは思いますけど、本当に頼もしいピッチングが毎試合毎試合してくれてるなと思いますし、守っているみんなもそうですし、ベンチにいるみんなも信頼して送り出していると思うので、はい、安心して見られるなとは思ってます。
Shohei, given what we saw from Snell and Yamamoto in terms of how deep in the game they went, for Game 4, what are you prepared to do physically? How far do you think you could push yourself, given that it is the postseason now?
もちろん2人で素晴らしいピッチングでしたし、本当に頼もしいピッチングだったので、僕もねそれに負けないぐらい長くもちろん投げれれば素晴らしいなとは思いますけど、長いイニングを投げるよりまずはやっぱり最小失点でゼロにまず抑えていくっていう、それを中継ぎもしくはその後ろにつないでいくっていうのが一番大事だとは思うので、一番大事なのは先制点を与えないっていうことがまず一番先発投手にとっては大事なことじゃないかなとは思ってます。
Shohei, I'm curious, Teo and Kike have had a lot of success so far in the playoffs. What do you see from a hitting perspective when you watch them hit?
テオに関してもいいところでもちろんヒットもホームランも昨日もそうでしたけど、本当に大きいところで打ってくれて、もちろんキケもそうですけど、キケに関してはどうですかね、決めるところももちろんそうですけど、フォアボールだったりね、ランナーのいないところでダブルもしくは長打でしっかりとスコアリングポジションに進んでいくっていう、そういうチャンスメイクに関しても素晴らしい働きだとは思うので、本当に頼もしい打線の中で本当に切れ目がなくなる、そういう役割かなとは思って頼もしく見てます。
よろしくお願いします。打席のクオリティを上げていきたいという話をされてて、でもすでに明日の試合をもう見据えてると思うんですけども、昨日の試合でいうとね、ちょっと不思議に思ったのが、第1打席第2打席ともストライクをね見送って2ストライクの後に打つっていうようなアプローチだったんですが、そこはやっぱり一番として球数を投げさせたいというのか、それとも自分の中でボールの軌道であったりストライクゾーンの確認であったり、どういう意図というかがあったか教えてください。
それ状況によって、ね、違うポジションではありますけど、さっきも言った通り、基本的にはストライクを振ってボールを見逃すっていうところだとは思うので、あとはゲームプランによってね、チームのプランもあるとは思うので、ここで言うべきことではないとは思いますけど、そのチームのプランに沿ってしっかりとみんなが打席を送れればいいゲーム運びができるのかなとは思ってます。
ありがとうございます。
Let's go in the middle.
お願いします。
Fourth row.
昨日ロバーツ監督が4戦目に大谷選手先発して、場合によっては第7戦リリーフで行ってもらう可能性もあるっていうふうにおっしゃってて、あと最近ちょっと何回かセンターでボール拾いみたいなのをしている場面もあったと思うんですけども、改めてリリーフで行くっていうことについて、可能性があることについての思いと、外野ないし守備につく可能性っていうのをどのように考えているかを改めて教えてください。
現時点では第4戦の先発と、まずは明日の第3戦の、しっかりオフェンス面ですね、そこをまずしっかりフォーカスして臨みたいなとは思っているので、その先はあんまり特には考えてないですし、行けと言われたらね、もう行く準備だけできれば十分かなとは思ってます。
Come to the second row on the left side.
大谷選手、2度目のポストシーズンだからこそ感じることとか考えること、昨年は全てが真新しかったと思うんですけど、今年は今年で投手をやられていたりご家族が増えたりしている中で、何か発見などはあったりしますでしょうか。
特に大きく去年と変わったなというところはもちろんないですけど、短期決戦は、メジャーリーグのポストシーズンだけではなくてそれなりにはやってきてはいますけど、そこまで大きく違うなっていう印象はないのかなと思うので、本当に一戦一戦なんていうんですかね、負けが許されるわけではないですけど、一戦一戦集中して臨んで、本当に次につないでいくっていう、みんなでそういうゲーム運びができればいいのかなと思っているので、去年と大きくそこまで感覚的に変わってるなとは思わないですかね。
Third row on the right side.
すみません、お願いします。数日前のオンライン会見でロバーツ監督がこのままの調子ではワールドシリーズ大谷選手がこのままの調子では勝てないっていうのは結構厳しめの言葉を言われてるんですけど、今までの監督ってあんまりそういったことってなかったように思うんですけど、単純にその言葉を聞いてどのように感じたかっていうのをお伺いしたいです。
打てば勝てる、逆に言えばね、打てば勝てると思ってるのかなと思う打てれば頑張りたいなとは思ってます。
We'll take one more on the far right in the fourth row.
すみません、よろしくお願いします。ポストシーズン入って、シーズン終盤からですけど、本当に先発陣が非常にいい調子で来ていて、特に昨日の山本由伸投手のピッチングを見てどう感じられたかと、第4戦先発ということで、この流れの中でどうバトンをつなぐというか、ご自身鼓舞されるところがあるかというところをちょっとお伺いしたいです。
本当に素晴らしい出来だったなというか、本当に文句のつけようがないピッチングだったのかなとは思うので、由伸のピッチング見ながらやっぱり自分の常にグラスノもそうだと思いますけど、自分が投げる時の、ね、ゲームプランであったりとかっていうのを再確認するっていうゲームの中ではそういう感じでは見てたので、球数的にね最後100球超えてましたけど、最後まで変わることなくというか、本当に安定した素晴らしいピッチングだったなと思います。
Okay, thank you, Shohei. Appreciate it.
Hey, Tyler. Obviously, you've got your own style, you've got your own hopes of how you're going to pitch tomorrow. But what goes through your mind when you watch what Blake and Yoshinobu did in the first two games of this series?
Just super impressive. I think just to start a series like that on the road and to pitch two really good games and come out with 2 wins is huge. So I'm in a good spot for tomorrow, and yeah, I'll do what I do my game planning, and then go out and hopefully pitch well.
Hey, Tyler. Freddie, Mookie, some of the vets on this team always say, hitting can be contagious, slumps can be contagious. Can pitching be contagious? To piggyback off what he said, could you pick up off that momentum that you guys before you just did in these last 2 games?
I hope so, yeah. I think I don't know. For me, I think sometimes it sounds cool and it's kind of magical, but I think it's kind of like if you just go out and pitch well. I think because we have a lot of good starting pitching, I think because we have a lot of good hitting, I think a lot of times it will line up all together at some points, and then sometimes in season it won't. So I don't know if it's just kind of statistically, like the odds are that we will pitch good altogether at some point, or if it does kind of have some sort of momentum effect. I hope it does, because then it would help me out tomorrow. But I don't know. Like, I hope, I guess, is my short answer.
So Shohei and Freddie was kind of struggling, little bit struggling against lefties in Phillies division series. How much did you watch some video, the game, or you didn't care about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been watching videos all lineup from then, and yeah, Shohei and Freddie, all the lefties are really tough. They are one of the best hitters in baseball, and always it's a challenge. Yeah, for sure. I pay attention to reports, and I pay attention how they've been doing the last games, and I have my plan to how we're gonna attack. But for sure, I'll pay attention to that.
Yeah, David. At one point last week, you said we're not going to win the World Series without Shohei getting out of his slump. You've won 7 out of 8 postseason games with him contributing very little offensively. Do you still think it's a necessity?
Well, I do, and I think the contribution is not just by batting average either. Certainly him being in the lineup, posting, I think getting the walks, allowing for Mookie to have opportunities to drive runs in, that's contribution. So for me, I think the first 2 games in Milwaukee, his at-bats have been fantastic. And so that's what I've been looking for, that's what I'm counting on. So I still stand by that, and we got a long way to go to win the World Series.
Yeah, Dave, to follow up on that, what do you think has been better about Shohei's at-bats this series, and is there anything different that you've seen that the Brewers have done that the Phillies were not doing, or that he was able to react to better than?
Well, I think he's controlling the strike zone. I think he's still staying aggressive when he gets his pitch. There was a line out to the right fielder. There was 3 walks. There was, the base hit in a run, situational opportunity. So those are positives for me. You can only take what they give you. So for me, I think he's in a good spot right now.
One more on Shohei. Did you sense any level of frustration from him, especially during the DS when he was struggling at the plate, or even coming into this series? Have you seen him just kind of handle, the way teams have pitched him, and the fact that his numbers aren't kind of what we're accustomed to seeing from him?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair, and I think that's expected, and I don't mind it. I like the edge. He's obviously a very, very talented player, and we're counting on him. And so for him to realize his own personal expectations, and if they're not realized, then certainly there's frustration. So he's just a great competitor. He's very prepared, and there's still a lot of baseball left.
Looking ahead to Game 4, of course, I know you're focused on 3, but looking ahead to 4 with Shohei due to start, he's been managed so carefully pitching-wise this season. What is realistic in terms of how far he could go, especially if you are in a clinch position that night?
Yeah, I think that for us, getting him through 7 innings, I think twice this year. So I feel, the century mark isn't like necessarily a ceiling on pitches. I think it's just kind of contingent how he's throwing, and he's waited for this moment, and I think that with the rest that he's got going into that game, he's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, your starters are all very talented, but your number 4 starter is the best hitter in the league, so presumably he's not pitching a complete game. You'll probably have to use relievers at some point. Is that fair to say? And what is your confidence level right now at the back end? I assume it's Vesia, Sasaki, and Trinan. And do you have an order there? Who's the closer?
No, I would say I feel really good with those 3 guys finishing the game. But I think that I feel comfortable. I feel very comfortable, very confident, and with all those guys and some other guys too, John. So I do think that I'm not going to buy into a certain narrative. I trust our players, and they're going to need to respond when given the opportunity, and that's kind of how I manage, and I think we've had some good success doing it that way.
Hey, Dave, you kind of maybe just answered this, but I know the other day you had mentioned you guys noticed Rocky's velo ticking down, and we're just kind of being a little careful there. Is he full go, or any lingering concerns about him after that?
No concerns. Training staff, coaches, everyone feels good, so he's full go, and if his number's called tomorrow night, he'll be ready.
Dave, this is kind of related to Roki, but do you have to, be more mindful of how you use him and kind of check in with him more, given that this is something new and that the velo did go down a little the other day?
I do. No is the question. No is the answer. I do think that there was a slight, down tick, but that could tick up tomorrow. So I think that he's healthy, he feels good, and, we're in the postseason. So, you got to be ready when called upon, all hands on deck. So we're trying to win a championship, and if he's the best option, he's going to pitch.